here, but I read that you are building the world's largest data center in Utah, 40,000 acres. If that's, how did you get into the data center business? How did this start?
I've always been in real estate, and sort of came up in commercial real estate with climate control storage for pharmaceutical companies. Data center development is very complex, but very similar in some ways. It requires permitting. It requires dark fiber. There's only 5 tenants in the world. You know them all: Amazon, Google, etc., Microsoft. And so the thing that got me motivated, though, was watching in the last 2 years this narrative in North America about how negative data centers are. It started in Virginia, actually. The idea that
they're raising energy costs, they're polluting water. So it's not really working out for the American citizen, and they're only producing 10,000 jobs, which is not really much. So it's pretty much the American people are paying more for it than it's actually benefiting us.
They consume a lot of water, that they are very noisy, and all that's true for stuff that was built.
The sad reality is we benefit data centers more than data centers benefit us.
15 years ago, but today that's not the case. And yet the narrative kept going. And I thought, who's doing this? Who would not want us to have compute power? Who would not want us to build our power grid out? Because when you build a data center today, you have to develop your own power and you can sell it back to the grid. That's what we're doing in Utah. I'm thinking to myself, the Chinese,
bro,
they don't want us to do that.
Bro, look, it's not Chinese propaganda that people are telling you that their bills are rising and water is being polluted because of data centers. I'm sorry, but that's not Chinese propaganda. This is just American people's concern that you're just passing off as Chinese propaganda because you don't like being told that you're wrong for what you're pursuing right now, and how you say, oh, you care so much about the American people, but you're throwing us under a bus for data centers.
And I went through that whole thing with TikTok, as you may recall, and I actually saw the evidence of how the Chinese were manipulating the algorithm. Now they're doing it a different way, and that just kind of pisses me off. So I'm happy to add compute.
Guys, you got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, feel free to super chat that in, or you can send it in a Venmo. But otherwise, double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
Dude, I'm like, I don't want my kids in 20 years who live in New York being told what to eat for breakfast by the Chinese. So, I'm kind of on a mission here to compete.
Damn.
Okay, so the point, so you're doing this.
Week, he says the AI race that real. If we don't win the AI race, we are not more AI technology advanced than China. Well, China's just going to take over. You know what? There is a bit of truth to that, honestly, especially when it comes to AI and military tech.
Because it's a business opportunity, but also because China doesn't want you to do it. Why would China not want data centers built in the United States?
Because we're in a competition for AI compute. The nation that has the best AI models will be the winner of future wars. It'll have the most productive economy. We already know now, just looking at earnings that are coming out as we speak, Tucker, the earnings.
Oh, that's the problem, though. Yeah, I mean, the production, that's great, but at the cost of jobs, though. So these companies make more, the production goes up, and that's great, for them. But American people, Americans lose their jobs. So how does that really help them? I mean, they're getting their products faster than what they can't afford because they don't have a job. I mean, who gives a damn if you're able to get your products faster if you can't afford them?
This quarter are unprecedented in terms of how good they are, because somehow, very quickly, and this is probably just serendipitous luck for this administration, AI compute is now being implemented in all 11 sectors of our economy, and it's enhancing both productivity and margin. So these companies are making a lot more money than they were anticipated to, because AI is very productive. And people debate about the job shift and everything else, but the fact is the economy is on fire, even at a time when we have conflict. So if I were the Chinese, the last thing I want in America is the 5 or 6 tech companies that are competing with me on DeepSeek having more compute capacity. I want to shut down every single proposal for every single data center in every single state. And I want agitators. I want paid protesters. I want environmentalists. I want to shut it all down so that they can't train their models as fast as I can. Meanwhile, the Chinese just built in terms of new power in the last.
Yeah, but the Chinese just don't give a fuck. That's the thing. Like, you look, it's like this. He's trying to beat his enemy. It's like, but what's the old saying? You know, don't become your enemy, trying to defeat your enemy or beat your enemy. And that's what happened to Kevin O'Leary. He's literally becoming or thinking like the Chinese do. You're like, yeah, don't give a fuck about the environment. So you're willing to do whatever to get to, get ahead. And you don't give a F about American jobs and the effects on the American people. F all that. Like, look, long we get these data centers erected. So yeah, guess what? The Chinese think the same. That's why a lot of people live in poverty, and like pretty much the way they do now. They live in literally destitute poverty, and they're eating grass in the outskirts. In the outskirts. I mean, if you go in the inner city, I mean, guys, it looks like they're living in the effing future. But that's not all of them. And Joe, you think being poor in America is bad? Yo, try being poor in China. That is way worse. It's just way worse. So yeah, the very people that you say you don't want us to be like, the very people that you want to beat, you're kind of turning into.
18 months, 400 gigawatts of new power, all with coal burning turbines. Coal. They're not worried about the environment. The big guy over there says, build one here and then stick a data center beside it so I can train my DeepSeek model faster. And you've heard it from the Anthropic CEO this week. He came out, the stereo guy, and said, hey, they're going to catch up in 6 months. So everybody wake up and smell what's going on here. And I started to dig in the last week, looking at all of these strings that are attacking the Utah proposal and the one I got up in Alberta.
I mean, look, bro, you waking up to money. People are waking up to higher energy prices and an eerie sound. Like, I'm sorry, but yeah, like people are not waking up to the same thing.
Going to where I can find power and developing these things. And I want the Chinese to see what we're doing. We're coming after you, buddy.
Can I ask, I've got a million questions, but let's just start with the competition between the US and China on AI. If data centers are the key to AI, why has China built so few of them?
Oh, no.
So I think there are about 365 data centers in China, almost 4,000 in the United States. So clearly they haven't prevented us from building data centers. What do you think that is?
Okay, let me walk you through the math of the last, this is moving very, very quickly, but the data centers of even 24 months ago were 100 megawatt facilities. And they were useful for cloud storage, like your Excel files and all the rest of that. They were useful for just basic compute and storage of data. But then when these models started emerging, such as we have going with Anthropic or Gemini, and any of them, Grok, all of it, and all of the tools built on top of them, the amount of compute power geometrically grew, and it was no longer 100 megawatts. The minimum was 250 megawatts.
I mean, and that's also one of the things about AI is that sadly, the upkeep of AI is a bit too much and it's kind of outweighing the profitability of it. It's like the problem is we're too busy kind of chasing a way to keep AI running, and it's kind of draining away at the profitability of AI, which may lead to this popping of the AI bubble that may be coming soon. God forbid, but you never know.
Then 4 months later, the minimum was 500 megawatts. Yes. Wait, here it comes. And then 2 months after that, it was 1 gigawatt. Now, try and get a gigawatt out of the American grid or the Canadian grid or the Mexican grid. Not a chance in hell. We're tapped out. So the Chinese were building these 1 gigawatt facilities. So it doesn't matter about the number of facilities. It matters how many are gigawatt plus for training AI models, because you need a lot of compute for the modern day chip. And this technology is advancing very, very quickly. So it's the size of the large ones are the ones that they're beating us on, not the small 100 megawatts. Nobody cares about those anymore. You can't train anything on that. So we're competing now for campuses, 10,000 acres and more at a time. And that's where the Chinese are kicking our asses.
So you said you will go wherever the energy is, but I thought you were you're bringing your own energy to the project. Can you explain how you're going to power this?
Sure, that's a good question. You can't tap in, and you tap into somebody's grid, let's take a place like Texas or in Mississippi or Utah for that matter, where I am, the electrical bills in that
Yeah, this is where the administration, I think, effed up. Like I said, they put the cart before the horse. They should have found out a way to for these AI for them, not AI centers, but these data centers to make their own energy before they was even built. Like get your own mini nuclear reactor, get your own little power grid, and then we built the data center. It's like we built the data center and now it's dragging on the energy grid, and now we're like, oh shit, they need to produce their own energy. Well, duh. We knew that, and we was telling people that in the first place. And actually, the Trump administration was telling us that. So it's kind of crazy how they kept going without completing that goal first. When, like I said, the first thing they should have done was make sure that these data centers can produce their own energy without dragging on the grid. And everybody would probably be happy. I mean, the water would still be a problem, but at least your electricity bill ain't going up.
county are going to go up 30%. And that's what pissed off so many people in Virginia. They went out of their minds as the electrical bills kept going up. So you can't do that. You have to bring your own power. So you do that is you find low-cost stranded natural gas. You acquire the new technology, turbines that burn very, very clean and require a lot less water, because that's a big debate too. And in some cases, no water. They're air-cooled. And you build those turbines first. So basically, the data center game is about power. Now, here's another reason the Chinese would not want, forget about data centers. Let's just say we're building new gas turbines that make electricity. The Chinese don't want you to do that either, because they know that that's how you're going to solve the grid problem. You know, the people in Utah are telling me, look, is there any way when you build these power facilities for the data centers, you could sell back some of that power to our local grid? And the answer is yes.
And I mean, that's what y'all should have been doing. And then y'all would have been able to avoid this whole problem with data centers, this whole complaint about these data centers. It's like, that's what you should have been did. First step, make the power generation, mini nuclear reactor, own energy grid, whatever you got to do, make sure that they're producing their own energy before you build a data center.
So now, instead of being the evil data center guys, we can be the guys that are actually powering the Utah grid, which, by the way, taps into the national grid. So we want to build as many of these power generators before we build any data centers. But
so where does the gas come from in this the world's largest data center, the one you're planning in Utah?
Well, mine won't be the largest for years. That's another piece of misinformation being spewed everywhere. And I'm going to tell you who's doing it soon.
Guys, make sure to support the stream with a super chat or a Venmo. You could go ahead and use the Venmo code above or below, depending on how you're watching. And you go ahead and super chat any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements. And also make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. Let's keep it going. And oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
We're going to build 1.5 gigawatts first, so a fraction of the 9 gig proposed, and make sure everything works. And the people there in Box Elder County can come and inspect it and see the air quality EPA standards we're going to hold up to, the water rights permits that we're going to maintain and be compliant with, the noise EPA requirements that we have to be compliant with, the air quality we have to be compliant with. Get the first one up, a small fraction of it, and show everybody how it works. That's the plan. And then I didn't need 40,000 acres, but that was the parcel available. That's twice the size of Manhattan. It's called the MIDA designation, right beside the Hill Air Force Base.
So I'm not using it 3 times bigger than Manhattan. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, but I don't need all that. But that was what was available. I'm going to lease it back to grazers, do some manufacturing. Maybe there's plenty of land. We don't need it all.
But the power for it, where does that come from?
So what we do is there's the Ruby pipeline there. It's only 17% utilized. It's one of the most underutilized pipelines in America. So it's not like we buy gas from the Ruby pipeline and we put it into a clean generator and it generates electricity. And we tie that back to the grid if they want it, or we power a data center. That's the idea. So we have to build the power first. And the power itself, I think we have a big challenge in every state. Everybody's got to build more power in the American grid right now, and the North American grid for that matter, Mexico too, and Canada.
So the older you get, you realize how fast everything can change.
And all right, guys. Shoot. Oh, yeah. Any question, comments? Nope. All right. Cool. Let's get right back into it. Did I miss anything? All right, good. We're good.
Construction jobs, 2,000 maintenance jobs just for the first is correct. And that
Nobody else, it creates 100% of its own power.
yes, that's 100% correct. And that was always the proposal. And that is in the contract that we actually developed and got unanimously passed by the 3 commissioners in Box Elder, where this is the benefit. It's to the benefit of the Box Elder. 66,000 people there. They're going to get a lot of tax revenue, a lot of jobs, 10,000 construction jobs, 2,000 maintenance jobs just for the first 1.5 gigawatts. So there's a lot of economic upside. But I must tell you,
like I said, you add in 10,000 jobs, but in a data center, yeah, it can add 10,000 jobs, but AI is taking away like 50,000. Do you see the problem here with that math? And it's like I said, it's not like the web, like where the web took away 1,000, but it added like 20, 30,000. It's like it's not the math ain't mathing, bro.
and this is the first time this has happened to me. I have a pretty big team, as I'm sure you do, on social media. I'm managing a network of 12 million plus followers on different platforms, on all of them. And so about 4 hours after the vote was unanimously passed on, there was a Monday night at around 6:05 Utah time. I got a phone call from one of the people that watches our network, looks for abnormalities. And he said, there's something going on here, something very unusual on Instagram and on Twitter, which is now X. And I said, what do you mean? He said, the spiking of a bunch of IP addresses that we don't know. And it's spewing out a tremendous amount of information. I said, okay, guys, let's get our team on, because I'm very fortunate. I have a bunch of very good data scientists, investigative data scientists, if you want to call them that. Probably one of the best teams privately outside of the government in the Department of Defense. My team's pretty good. You can make the assumption they once worked in these agencies. All right, let me give you some names here, Tucker. Party for Socialism and Liberation. Apparently,
No, you can see Tucker's face like, bro, are you serious? So so we're just gonna pretend like data centers aren't making things more expensive on America. It's not making water more expensive. It's not making electric more expensive. We're just gonna pretend like none of that's real. The numbers aren't real. The reports from American citizens aren't real. It's just all Chinese propaganda, guys. Your suffering's not real, and if you tell me it is, it's Chinese propaganda, bro. Oh man. Oh Leary. Oh Leary.
shares offices with the CPP all over my social media.
Okay, wait, let me just stop you. Let me just stop you there. So if you're saying that you're being criticized by agents of a foreign government, let me just add my empathy, in fact, having been the subject of that, quite a bit over many years.
I'm well aware.
Right.
I'm well aware.
But but that doesn't, you make the case the Chinese don't like it. If you're that concerned about the Chinese, what percentage of the materials in the data center come from China?
And if you wonder why I'm going so hard on data centers, like, guys, one, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. We have a good amount of data centers. I've seen the effects of them, and I've worked in data centers before, kind of exposing my profession a bit. But yeah, I've worked in these data centers before, and I kind of still do. But yeah, what you guys got to understand is that, everything you're saying is right. This is dragging on the American people. And I mean, bro, we did the most shysteiest shit, and we put our data center in New Albany in one of the richest cities outside of Columbus. So, well, they're not going to bitch about higher gas prices. I mean, higher electric prices. Well, they are. But I mean, who cares? They're rich. I mean, those boys in New Albany got money, and that's where they're stationing up all the data centers instead of doing it where the poor people are at. And that's why they were getting all these complaints. They've tried to put it where the poor people are at, got complaint. Middle class got complaints. You put it over there towards the rich people, you don't really hear too much.
Less and less all the time. That's one of the things the administration is trying to do. The turbines, are European made or American made.
But that's fair. I mean, if we could put all the data centers in all the rich people's, neighborhoods and make them pay the higher prices, then I mean, okay. I mean, they're the ones who want it. They're the ones making the most money off it. Why not let them pay for it as well?
The pipelines are obviously American made. The chips are certainly American made. The actual build out of the facilities mostly American made. I don't think there's a whole lot of we're not mining Bitcoin here. So
right. No, I mean, I think I read it's about 40 or 41%. So it's just, I mean, China is benefiting from, most purchases that most of us make because it's the world's largest manufacturer. And that would also include the construction of data centers. But my point is, I'm sure there are lots of people trying to influence this outcome to their own benefit. And that would include foreign countries, maybe even China. But it doesn't change the facts about the project. So I just want to make sure I have these clear. Would you be paying market rate for the gas?
Yes, I don't have a choice on that.
Right.
You have to negotiate a gas deal. I'm pretty well paying market rate for everything. There's a competition between states for these jobs. I know there's a lot of bad press. I wanted to just finish with the list because I don't think, Tucker, you get the enormity of what's going on here.
Oh, I do. I do get.
I mean, these data centers got like what, a couple technicians, a good amount of technicians, and some office workers, and maybe a couple dock workers, and that's it. It's like it's not that much jobs, not that much departments. I'm be real with you. And then, like I said, these data centers are here to build up AI that are taking away more jobs than they're adding. I'm gonna keep saying this. The math is not mathing when it comes to the jobs. Shit, the math ain't even mathing when it comes to the profitability of these data centers.
The enormity.
Well,
and no, I have no doubt that, I mean,
well, I want to mention two that are cells inside of Utah, which really stunned me. This I'd never seen before. Alliance for a Better Utah. Elevate strategies, taking the content from the CPP, repurposing it, and jamming it down the throats of people in Utah on my social media feed and lots of other feeds.
I have no doubt that's true, but I'm asking questions that I think are relevant to the country. I'm not an agent of the Chinese. I'm not a socialist. So I just want to know, like, where's the water coming from? Because water, as you know, is one of the most contested resources in the.
Yeah, low-key, it's not a socialist argument when you sit there and be like, all right, look, man, I'm all about, advancement and making profits and all that good stuff. Like, trust me, I'm a capitalist. But, you're kind of going to destroy capitalism if you create a whole bunch of jobless people. I mean, I'll be real with you. You're going to make people hate capitalism. You're going to push them towards socialism. And they're going to start demanding things like, universal income. And Lord knows you guys ain't trying to do that. And you guys, here's a problem. They're not really talking about the jobs that this can create, like, at all. Like, we're seeing the jobs that it's taking before we're seeing the jobs that it's creating. And all people can really say, well, if you could sit back, do other things. Yeah, without a job, or will we be getting paid? Like, how does that work?
The West.
Oh, no, that's.
I mean, let's be real. The people who support this AI stuff are turning into socialists. And when you ask them how that works, just like socialists, they really can't explain how the money works every single time. Shout out to my man Lunatic Libertarian. He says all centralized systems are failed and data centers. And you know what, dog? I'm gonna have to give you that. I mean, until we could find a way for AI to work with man and not replace man, I think we should go ahead and pump the brakes on this because it's not going in the right direction. And these tech oligarchs, I mean, let's be real. They don't have our best intentions in hand, obviously, at hand, obviously. And if they did, I mean, like I said, they'd have been pushing Trump to say, like, look, we're not going to build these data centers until we get our own energy production, or else it's just going to drag on the American people. And we're not going to go too far with these models, or we're just going to have to make everybody work with an AI assistant, which at least they get to keep their jobs. But that also might lead to an AI surveillance state. But I mean, at least you got a job. I mean, imagine AI surveillance state with no job, with universal income, where you could never make any money. And I mean, like I said, straight up socialism. Do we really want that? Of course not.
Right. That's right. When you buy land in Utah, there are water rights that were granted that land sometimes over 100 years ago. You have to apply for a permit, a usage permit for that water.
Land.
So if it was once used for one purpose and you want to change the purpose to industrial, let's say in the case of a data center or power generation, you have to apply for the permit. Usually what happens, if it was grazing and it was 100% you could use, they may change that and knock it down by 40% to 60%. But there's water already on that property, already being used right now. We're just repurposing that water for a different purpose. It's not like we're going to draw
You're taking
water
the
from
water.
somewhere else. We couldn't use the land if it had no water. We couldn't even have a toilet in the men's room if we didn't have any water. So
would you be using more water than, say, a sugar beet farmer would?
no, actually, probably not. It depends. Here's Tucker. The way it works is, let's say your prime tenant is Google. They come along and they say, "Okay, we want to be the tenant for the Utah site, but we have a whole bunch of requirements because they're under pressure too to be a lot more efficient, productive, and more sustainable." They may say, well, let's not use water to cool our turbines. Our spec is going to be air-cooled turbines. So you're going to build out, you're the owner, you're the master developer. Here's our spec. And so I expect whether it ends up being Amazon or Microsoft or Tesla or Google, they're going to build in a whole bunch of things. And we can't deliver them water we don't have. So my guess is it's going to be contained cooling for the chips, which is like a radiator in your car. So you're not using a ton of water there. And then for the turbines themselves, it may be air cooled. We don't know yet. It depends what the tenant wants.
So what's your as you game this out, expected water use over the first 10 years?
Well, not knowing what my tenant wants yet, probably less than we had originally anticipated in terms of what is given us on the water rights. We've applied for that. I mean, we're anticipating we'll get, whatever we're going to get. I don't think we're going to use it all at all because what people...
Do you expect water rates in the state of Utah will go up?
Yeah, not because of us. I just think they go up anyways over time.
But if they go up, at a quicker rate than they have,
bro, from his body language, he come on now. Even he knows that's cap.
Been going up. If there's a spike in water price, would you compensate the state for the difference?
No,
in other words, if your business causes water prices to rise, are you on the hook for any of that?
Yeah, I think we would be. I mean, we're negotiating that. But I don't think water is the constraint because most of the technology, which advances every 24 months, is reducing the requirement for water. So
right.
I mentioned the air-cooled turbines. Those just came on the scene 18 months ago. So they're the first to actually generate 5 megawatts at a time, like Lego blocks, put them together, and you're using air. But they're also, you have EPA regulation about air quality. So you've got to be very careful that when you're using air cooling, you're not breaching the air quality because in Utah, and I studied this when I was back in college, it's a unique geography. They get inversions there because of the mountains.
Yep.
So you really, as an old environmental study guy, that's the one they'd always show us would be Salt Lake City. So I'm well aware of the problem and I know what the new turbines can do. The amount of hype and hysteria and over all of this stuff, well, I've already pointed out, I think it's being generated by our adversaries, but it's also misinformation. Everything that's been said about that site is false.
Well, I'm grateful that you're able to present your side of this, and thank you for doing it. Things around the world are moving so fast right now, it's impossible to keep up with all of the changes.
Bro, coming up with the most, poor excuses of how these data centers are, not hurting Americans. Like that is crazy. But all right, let's get right back into it, guys, and make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. And if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, go ahead and super chat that in. Brings us closer to hitting our goal and opening up the call-in line. Sure, let's see if we can get it opened up within an hour. So, because I'm trying to close it down within the 4 hours or 4 hours and 30 minutes, depending on the support. I might go longer, but make sure to double tap that screen and like the video.
Let me ask, because
and subscribe to the channel as well, guys. And make sure to hit that bell, hit that icon above, and subscribe to the channel.
This is just a huge new thing, and I think it's understandable that people would be anxious about it. I don't think they understand it. I don't fully understand it. That's for sure. Let me ask, though, about why taxpayers should have to pay for this if it's a private business and your tenants are some of the richest companies in the world. Why would taxpayers be required, as they now are, to subsidize this?
They don't. They don't necessarily have to do that. They just won't win any contracts. It's a competition.
But why are you getting tax breaks is my question.
Yeah, everybody, you go back and you say, what incentives can you give us to invest $15 billion in the first 1.5 gigs? That's what it takes. I have to go raise $15 billion.
Well,
That's just
okay,
the
but anyone who
first one.
starts a business, why should taxpayers have to pony up for that?
They don't.
Oh, God.
But
Well, of course
We
they do.
are.
I mean, if you're getting a tax break and they're not,
Like,
they're making
for
up the
us.
difference. There's a state
hey,
budget.
that's no problem. That's no problem. I can build it in Texas. I can build it in Jacksonville, Mississippi.
No, but
they're the-
why, if it's such a good business, would you be asking taxpayers to help pay for it without giving them equity in the company? Are you giving
And
tax?
I mean, and here's the thing though, if that's what you could have done instead of making it drag on, the American people in that state, then why don't you go do it there? Because obviously they don't want it. It's kind of crazy. It's like, like I said, he could honestly care less about the American people when it comes to these data centers and beating China.
Taxpayers' shares?
No, the investors get the shares. But here's why they would do
But
it.
why would the taxpayers have to?
Well,
I mean, in other words,
I'm
if you
telling
want to
you
start a business, but why am I, as a taxpayer, forced to pay for your business? I don't get it.
Well, let's forget about data centers. Let's go any manufacturing. Let's say you're going to build an aluminum sheet manufacturing facility.
Mhm.
You go to the government there and say, look, this is going to huge capex huge capex expenditure. I'm going to hire 2,000 people. I'm going to build a community center. I'm going to pay a lot of tax on the profits in your state when I sell the aluminum. And I'm going to hire all these people who they will also pay tax. And we will build a school because our workers need a school. And. What can you give me to incentivize me versus the state right beside you?
Yeah, but your workers are pretty much building AI that's going to take jobs. And trust me, those jobs are going to be around them as well. So I'm sorry, but like I said, you're taking more jobs than you're creating. You're not helping out here. Like, he's mainly concerned about the success of these data centers than the success of, the American people and like what these data centers are producing. And if it's AI, then you're producing the loss of jobs. And I'm be real with you, data centers aren't producing enough jobs to replace these jobs that will be taken at all whatsoever.
Which is willing to give me an incentive package.
No, I understand. I understand that you're gaming a system in place. You didn't come up with this, but
No,
I'm just trying to understand. So the trade typically is
that's a fair way of
jobs,
putting
okay?
it.
But these projects don't actually.
Well, no, it's also jobs and taxes because you're going
and taxes.
Yeah,
but then you're getting a tax break, so that doesn't really make any sense.
Only
But
up front, Tucker, welcome to America, buddy. This is how it's gone on for 200 years.
Okay,
Different
well,
states
I don't know. Lots of bad things go on for a while. But I think at some point it's worth assessing, like, why are we doing this? So
not for its entirety, but I mean, trust me, not for its entirety. I'll be real with you. If the forefathers was to see the type of capitalism practice today, a lot of these corporate owners would probably be put to the gallows, to be honest with you.
On the job question,
you're doing it because there's a competition.
Well, I run a couple of businesses and we're not getting any tax breaks. I think they're every bit as virtuous as data centers, but I'm not availing myself of that, and no one's offered. And I wouldn't take it anyway because it's not the job of taxpayers to subsidize a private business.
It's a fair comment, but my job is to create a data center, create 2,000 jobs for long term and 10,000 manufacturing at the beginning or construction. And I'm obviously looking at multiple sites, and this won't be the last one.
And like I said, the data centers are going to be great for construction, but that's temporarily. Once these data centers are all done, that construction boom goes away. Well, unless they want to also make sure these factories are getting built as well. So once that goes away, then what? That's the major problem that he just can't answer because he don't care.
When I build,
that's fine.
May I ask, 2,000 jobs? Okay, so relative to the physical size of the project, which, as you noted, is multiple times the size of Manhattan, and the power draw at peak, this data center, your projections will consume as much energy as New York City does, but New York City provides almost 5 million jobs. And this project, by your own description, would provide about 2,000 jobs.
Wild.
I don't see the trade
definitely
here.
that you definitely got that calculation wrong. By
Okay, tell me
building a
how.
data center that trains AI, that provides productivity to the entire nation, we create millions of jobs, high-paying jobs.
So
Jobs we
AI
don't
is
even
going to
know.
create jobs? I
Yes,
thought it
Bruh.
was going to eliminate
you know,
jobs net.
just think about the new technologies we don't even know yet that are going to be built off AI. Everybody thinks when television came, everybody would lose their job in radio. That was complete
Right.
BS. And the same thing is going to happen here. Everybody's hysteria about losing jobs, making hamburgers or flipping them, being replaced by a robot. That's probably true. But all kinds of new
I
technology.
mean, all right, yeah, we all okay. We do kind of see that, but it's being true. But that's also a problem as well. And dog, I mean, AI can do accounting, so they're taking over in the finance. They can do coding, so they're taking over in tech. So AI can do a lot of things that these white collar jobs can do, and that's going to decimate them. And then once you put the AI into robotics, now they're doing manual labor, and that's going to take out the rest of us. Like, it's crazy how he don't see this. And I see why Tucker Carlson's face looks so lost and surprised. It's like, dog, do you not see where this is leading? Because it's kind of obvious.
Will become available over time, including in medical science and biology and all kinds of things where the models can be used. I'm extremely optimistic. What I'm doing is creating a
And I
whole.
know some of you guys in the chat's also like, wait, are you serious? This is really, he's really saying this? Yes, he's really saying this. And he's thinking that this is the best thing for America.
Whole new opportunity for my children.
What kinds of
After that.
jobs? Well, I mean, again, some of this, of course, is unknowable, and I want to be as fair as I can be because I'm grateful that you're willing to talk about it so openly. But you just said this will create AI will create millions of new jobs. You're
How?
Yes,
part
it
of the
will.
basis of AI. You can't have AI without data centers, at least right now. So, what are those millions of jobs? Because we can go through the list that the creators, the people who actually are making AI right now, developing it, we can go through a list of jobs they say it's going to eliminate, which would be like lawyers and financial planners and like the basis of upper middle class America. That's going away. They've said this. What will it be replaced by?
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's gonna take out the white collar jobs first. Actually, it already can. And then once y'all put it into robotics, then it's coming for the blue collar guys. And after that, now we're riding in the streets looking for tech CEOs to put on a stick. Heads on stick, guys. Heads on stick. And if you think Luigi Mangione was bad, well, wait till you take all of our jobs. And I'm not saying that we're going to go ahead and commit violence. I'm just saying that things might get violent. Just being real here. And hey, if you're a tech CEO, please hear me out. I'm just saying this is the future. If you guys keep this going, I'm not going to participate in it, but I'm just going to be sitting back on the sideline. Like, see, I told you. I told you. With popcorn, watching the mob with the flames go towards the buildings of Tesla, Apple, and Google, ready to pull you guys out of there and put your heads on sticks. I would not be participating, but I'll be real with you. I'm not going to feel that bad. My heart will hurt a little bit, though.
It'll be replaced by new science opportunities, new exploration into space, new manufacturing for robotics, for defense as well. Wars in the future probably aren't going to be fought with people getting shot in the flesh. It'll be one set of robots against another. I think the drone technology will advance, the manufacturing of surveillance, all that stuff against our enemies, which notably is basically China. So if you think about how you debate the data center. I think it's fair to do that, what you're doing. But I would be very concerned if I were living in Taiwan that one day my electricity just goes out and I get invaded by basically robotics and high precision ordnance. And that's what China wants, and they want to get there first. Now, if we don't get there first, if we don't develop...
So give up our jobs, give up our sovereignty for what? For beating China in AI? Like, you know what, bro? You're gonna have to sell that a little bit better. You're gonna have to sell that a little bit better for me. I'm sorry, but I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Like, I hear the argument, I get it, I understand it, but it still hasn't convinced me. What about you guys? Did that convince you guys? Because it didn't convince me. I'm not any closer into supporting these data centers. Oh, and shout out to my man. Let me see here. Somebody sent a gift. Boom. Oh, shout out my man Jay. He said the high five for 100 joules. Appreciate the support, my man.
Something better than their AI, and our ability to be predictive on where these conflicts are going to happen, I think we'll be in a bad place in 20 years. And so,
okay, but I think it's very revealing that I asked you about jobs in the United States and you went immediately to defending Taiwan in the South China Sea.
We manufacture the equipment here, Tucker. That's where it's made.
But I'm okay. Well, actually, a lot of this is made in China, as I know you know. So
but that's my whole point. I don't want to do that anymore. Okay, I want to start making it here. I want to do advanced robotics.
I totally agree. But the promise of AI and robotics is that the robots will make the products of the future. So how exactly does that result in American jobs?
If you're in the
more specifically, what are those? What are you talking about when you say
replaced by a machine? I don't buy that. I just don't agree with you because it's never happened.
I'm not saying I don't want that to.
There ain't nothing to debate about. It's already happening. People are being replaced with AI learning models. Like, what are you talking about? It's already happening. Like on the white collar level, at least. So to sit there and say that you can't see how it would take other jobs, bro, you're being dishonest. He has to be being dishonest at this point. He can't truly believe that.
That happened. Trust me.
Like that, bro. It's literally 1 + 1 = 2. It's that simple.
I'm really worried about it, almost panicked. But I'm trying to feel better. Okay, then please make me feel better. Where are these millions of new jobs? What specifically are you talking about?
Well, every time technology advances, it creates new opportunities that were not foreseen prior because you don't know the direction of new tech. Think about if you and I, because we were actually around in the late 80s contemplating what new jobs would be created by the internet. And look at what's happened. It's created millions of jobs and advanced all kinds of technologies.
Yeah, because let's be real. The internet, I'm be honest with you, the internet couldn't take accounting jobs. The internet couldn't take, coding jobs. Actually, we still needed coding to make the internet work. So the internet's a little bit different than AI. Why? Because, AI has the ability to take jobs and it has the ability to self-learn. The internet was something that we had to build brick by brick. AI is building itself. Like, that's a problem.
It changed the way we live to the better. And I would say to you, the same angst we had, the same narrative that was going on in 1992.
I'm sorry, but building the internet created a lot of jobs. Here's the thing, building internet still creates jobs. The problem is once AI can reach a level where it could work without us. Internet, it really could never reach a level where it couldn't work without us. The internet's never just going to create new websites out of nowhere. That's what we do. That's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about the internet. It's all the internet, it depends on us. But AI, once we get it to a certain level, actually it's already at that level, it starts doing its own thing.
About how the internet is going to wipe out the economy and it's a bad thing and it's dangerous. Of course, people loathe change. That's the nature of how it is.
Do you think that the United States is a happier country than it was in 1992?
What? Define happy. What does that mean?
I don't know. How about the suicide rate or the addiction rate or the life expectancy?
Shoot, dog. What about the early 2000s? We didn't even got to go back that far. The early 2000s, things were just a little bit more affordable before the crash, of course, of 08. Come on, man. Back when people were still seeing 99-cent gas. Yes, I'm that old.
Those are all upside down.
Look, there's lots of social issues, and there always has been. I would remind you, though,
but they've gotten worse at exactly the period in history that the internet was formed, and then seemed to infuse every part of our lives. So, if you were worried about the effect of the internet in 1992 on America, looking back from the vantage of 2026, you could say, yeah, I had good reason to be worried, couldn't you? Or am I imagining this?
You could say that it would have some effect on society, but let me remind you something, and I'm probably the right guy to make this comment because I spend a lot of time all around the world, investing all around the world. I don't care where you go, and I feel this way, and I've really learned this over the last 20 years. What is the number one export of America? It's not energy, and it's not technology. It's actually the American dream, for all its faults that America has.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Everybody I meet in every country.
Bro, nigga, what? I'm sorry, that was too funny. He said, "Our big we sell the American dream." Okay, bro, please tell me I could go to the another country and sell them the American dream. Because I'm sure if I go to another country and try to sell them the American dream, I might end up with my head chopped off. Please tell me how that works, bro. Oh, because what type of philosophical bullshit is that? That was a word salad like Kamala level. Kamala level word salad right there.
Pretty well every single one would like to figure out how they can get to America, start a business, and be part of the American dream. And I go to some pretty gnarly places where people are willing to risk their lives to go under a river with barbed wire to get in here. So until that changes, which I don't see ever happening, my only concern is China. They're the ones.
If you could just be more precise. I mean, born here, I love this country. I'm not leaving, so I'm vested in the idea of the American dream. But I'd love to just define it more precisely before we discuss it. What is it?
Okay, let's make it really basic. Let's go to Shark Tank. Those people that trot out in front of me and have done for almost 20 years with an idea to solve someone's problem, they'll get paid for. And 80% fail, but 20% make it. And it creates personal.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. Go ahead and hit that icon above. And also make sure to support the channel with a gift or super chat. Let's keep it going.
Freedom for them.
I ain't lie, this dude Kevin O'Leary low-key pissing me off. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because it's like, bro, you could tell it's like, dog, you really don't care. You're framing it as if you care, but the words coming out your mouth lets me know that you do not care about the consequences that this will bring. It's all about how much money you're gonna make in your family, and that's great. I get that, but at the sacrifice of the American people. Yeah, like I said, dog, when the angry mob goes towards your house, I mean, don't complain. Just say that. Just remember that we warned you.
Because it was just an idea. I mean, I think of some of these things, wicked good cupcakes, set two women free for the rest of their lives, base paws, cat DNA testing, Anaskaya, a researcher that came up with this idea, walked away with 105 million.
Guys, this was actually like predicted that if AI ever came around and it got too advanced to the point where it was just taking, jobs, there would only be a select few people who would actually make money off AI, and it would literally be them held at the top, and it would turn into a complete oligarchy. And the people would pretty much rise up against that oligarchy and, like I said, start putting heads on sticks. And